discomfort as in joint pain. Muscular discomfort, entirely up to you. If you need to stop and have a little stretch, stop and stretch. If you can keep it going for as long as you can. Usual props, the band or strap belt if I don't have an elastic band, and then a ball or a cushion or pillow if I don't have a ball. So first thing, I'm trying to set myself into neutral. So trying to find a good alignment, especially if I'm seated. I want to try and hold myself up a little bit taller, a little bit better, to make sure that I'm not compressing the front of the body, preventing the diaphragm from doing its job, moving up and down, also forcing the body to go into apical breathing. So I want to keep the throat, the neck, the chest, the shoulders nice and relaxed, and then see if I can let the breath drop down towards the belly, towards the rib cage. If I'm laying down easy, I'm just going to relax completely down onto the mat, let the floor take the weight, relaxing through the shoulders, allowing the hips to rest well on the mat, legs straight or bent, whichever feels more comfortable. And then I'm going to focus a little bit on the breath. So see if I can notice where the breath is to begin with. I can feel that when I breathe in, I can feel that tension coming up into the neck, into the top of the chest. I'm trying to calm it down. So see if I can try and, with the exhalation, let go to the front, let go of the front of the body and the shoulders. And then as I inhale, see if I can keep the tension away from the neck and the shoulders. So see if I can keep it down into the ribs, down into the belly. As I feel the breath is a little bit calmer, I'm just going to run a quick scan over the body, just noticing how I feel, if there is any tension, any pain, discomfort, anywhere, comparing the pressure between the right and the left side of the body. Is the pressure the same? Am I putting more weight on one side than the other? Am I center? Am I slightly twisted? Am I slightly leaning? I'm not changing anything, just trying to feel where everything is and how I feel to begin with. And then as I feel a little bit more settled, the breath feels that little bit calmer, a little bit more relaxed, I'm going to start focusing on the shoulders. I'm going to start rolling the shoulders back, starting with a little movement, and then gradually see if I can open up the circle. Imagine to be really trying to unglue the shoulder blades from the back of the rib cage. So I'm going to try and create as much movement as possible. There'll be all sorts of clicking and scrunching noises. As far as there is no pain, I'm going to keep it nice and big. If there is pain, I'm just going to reduce the range. If I'm lying down, obviously I'm limited for space as I've got the floor underneath, but I can still get a good roller going, even though the mat, the floor is behind me. 3, 2, 1, and releasing down, relaxing through the shoulders, relaxing into the back, and then I'm going to start focusing on the shoulder joint more this time. I'm going to start with little movement, raising both arms up to the front. If I'm laying down, I'm going to take them back. If I'm seated, I'm going to take them up, send them up to the ceiling. And then I'm just going to return the arms back by the side. Play with the position of the hand, sometimes turning the hand to face towards the ceiling or towards the inside. Feels better on the shoulder. I don't want to feel pain in the shoulders. If I'm laying down, moving the arms feels easier as I'm working with gravity. If I'm seated, I'm working against the gravity, so the arms get very heavy very quickly. So it doesn't matter if I can't lift them all the way up to the ceiling, just making sure that as I lift them, I want to lift the arms, but not all of the shoulder girdle. So I'm not shrugging the shoulders up to the head. I'm trying to keep the shoulders down. The neck is free to move. There is no tension into the neck. There is no tension into the shoulders. Imagine almost like as if the arms were attached to balloons that were just like floating up. So the least amount of effort possible to get the arms moving. 3, 2, 1, and easing back, giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll. I'm going to change the direction. This time I want to go into a lateral raise. So I want the arm to go out to the side. Both arms together. I'm going to scoop them around the side, bring them up towards the ceiling, and then round the side, I'm going to take them back towards the hips. Same as you did for the front raise. As the arms start coming up, as I get roughly around shoulder level, I want the shoulders to drop away from the head and the arms to keep moving. I can change the angle slightly. I can allow the arms to come slightly forward to the body line. So I'm still drawing that semicircle around the sides, but without pain in the shoulder. So I'm not forcing the movement to the side if I feel that it's too painful for my shoulder. If I'm laying down, exactly the same. I've got the floor to guide me. So as I go into that lateral opening, if the shoulders allow me to, I'm going to keep the arms nice and close to the floor. If the shoulder is too uncomfortable, then I'm going to allow the arms to pull away from the floor. So finding the angle, finding the movement that allows me to move the arm without pain. 3, 2, 1, and releasing back. Relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the arms, and then I'm going to combine the 4 directions together. So this time I want to go into circles. I'm going to start with the arms down by the side. I'm going to raise them both up to the ceiling. I'm going to take them back as far back as I can, and then swing them around and then back to the hips. So I'm going to lift them up, take them back, round the side and back towards the hips. So the movement could be small, a little bit shallow. It could be very big, same as you did for the 2 different directions, for the front raise and the lateral raise. Just make sure that I'm not forcing. So there is no pain in the shoulders as the arms go round into the circle. It's a softer movement. I'm trying to be aware of the neck, the front of the throat, the chest. I want to keep it soft, to keep it loose. 3, 2, 1, and release. Relaxing the shoulders. I'm going to try the same, but reversing the direction of the movement. So I'm just going to start with a lateral raise around the side, bring it towards the head, and then I'm going to take it down the front, around the side, towards the head, and then back down to the front. Again, encouraging the chest to relax, the neck to relax. Little movement, big movement is whatever suits this direction. 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the arms. And then we're going to try one more time, but this time I'm going to try and see if I can get the brain going with the body. What I want is to do the opposite with the arms. So I'm just going to think of the right arm raising up at the front, the left arm goes out to the side. So the right to the front, the left to the side. I'm going to come back and then switch. The left goes forward, the right goes side. Then come back, and then I'm going to switch again. So see if you can focus on, as the arms lift, normally what I focus on so that I don't get confused is I want to be able to see the arm in front of me. The other one, I don't want to see. So it's somewhere around the side. I can't see that arm. I can only see the one that is lifting in front of me. So one I want is straight ahead of me, and then the other one is going somewhere around the side. Again, without forcing, so no pain in the shoulder. It could be a slightly shorter movement, a like slightly smaller movement, and then keep switching from one side to the other. 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Relaxing the shoulders, releasing the arms. Already the coordination movement is kind of like forcing me to go into a slight rotation. What I want is to encourage that rotation now. So I'm going to reach both arms straight ahead. I can keep the hands apart. I can bring the hands together. The elbows are soft. I'm going to move the shoulders down and away from the head, and then taking a deep breath in. As I breathe out, I'm going to start swinging the arms to the right. So I'm going to rotate to the right. If I'm seated, I'm going to use all the space that I've got to turn. Inhale back to the front, and then I'm going to exhale, twist and turn in the other way. So without forcing the movement, just think of a nice, easy swing one way and a nice, easy swing going the other way. If you're seated, there is no guidance. So just see if you can imagine your spine like a paw planted on the chair. I want to rotate around the spine, not bend the spine out of shape. So I'm not leaning sideways, I'm not leaning backwards. I'm trying to keep that upright position and then go round and then round the other way. If you're lying down, you've got the mat to guide you. So although I can't rotate as much, I can still follow the movement with my shoulder girdle and then create a gentle rocking from one to the other side. The hips are nice and still. So I'm not taking the hips, I'm not taking the legs with me. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last time. And easing back. Adjusting the arms, adjusting the shoulders. And then I'm going to focus on the lower back. What I want is to try to mobilize the lumbar spine. I'm going to go into a little pelvic tilt. So I'm just going to tilt the pelvis back, pressing the lower back down into the mat. And then I'm just going to go back into neutral. So just a gentle rocking forward and back. I'm not forcing the movement. I don't want the bum to clench. I don't want the legs to tense, to push. I'm just creating a little tension at the front of the belly that allows me to roll the hips up slightly. The lower back drops and then back into neutral. So massaging through the lower back, making sure that the shoulders and the neck are staying relaxed. I'm not gripping with the shoulders. I'm not stiffening through the neck. If I'm seated, think of the same. I don't have the floor to give me feedback, but see if you can picture your upper back. I want my upper back to stay pretty much still. It's just the lower back that is moving. So I'm just going to tuck the tailbone under. I'm going to tilt back, and then I'm going to try and bring myself back up into neutral. So I'm going to roll back onto the tailbone, and then I'm going to try and pick myself back up onto the seat bones. So forward and back. Posterior, and then back into neutral. 3, 2, last one, and easing back. Returning the hips back to the middle, adjusting the hips, adjusting the position. And then this time I'm going to focus on the legs. What I want is to try and create movement into the hip joint. So get the hip joint going. So I'm just going to grab a hold of my band, place it behind around the right leg, the back of the right leg, so that I can support it and guide it with the arm. And then using one or both arms if you want to, I'm going to start circling the leg into the hip socket. So ignore the shin and the foot. Think of just the thigh bone. I'm going to try and turn it into the hip socket. Nice and easy. So little movement, slightly bigger movement, whatever feels easier. See if you can do everything with the arms. So the leg is not trying to lift, it's not trying to move. I'm just letting the leg hang, letting the leg relax, and then see if I can move it with my arm. So allowing the hip to let go completely so that I can get the leg to circle without sudden stiffening, gripping and tightening in the joint. If I'm lying down, it's exactly the same. I'm just going to pick the leg up, let the shin and the foot relax, and then I'm just going to start drawing little circles with my kneecap on the ceiling above the hips. Reversing the circles. I'm going to try a few going the other way. If you're laying down, think of the pelvis keeping nice and still, making sure that the pelvis is not rocking, it's not rolling all over the place. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Easing that leg down, relaxing into the hip. I'm going to try the same thing with the left side. So I'm going to switch the band around the back of the left leg and then set in the same position. If I'm lying down, the leg will be lifted. I'm going to circle the leg into the hip socket. If I'm seated, it's a little bit harder as the leg feels heavier. Again, I'm moving it against the gravity. But see if I can really relax into the hip and then allowing a little movement through the hip joint. So see if I can let the leg move into the hip socket, however big or small the movement is. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then reverse in the circles, going the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and release. Relaxing the hip, releasing the leg. Hopefully a little bit more movement into the hip joint as well. I want to start coordinating upper and lower body together. So I'm going to keep the feet as about the hips width apart. And then imagine to have a little string that attaches your right hand to your right leg, your left hand to your left leg. I'm going to start puppeting the legs. So with the right arm, I'm going to start lifting up at the front. And then with the leg, I'm going to try and follow that lift. If I can get the foot to lift off the ground, great. If I can't get the foot to lift off the ground, great as well. I'm trying. With the left side, I'm going to do the same. So I'm going to pull the string with the left arm, see if I can get the left leg to follow, pull the string with the right, get the right leg to follow. Whether you're seated or lying down, imagine a little kind of like walking with the legs. So I'm just going to try to get into the hip flexor and then picture the thigh moving towards the chest and then back. So I'm pulling it with the right arm and back. I'm pulling it with the left. Again, the foot might lift, it might not lift completely off the ground. It doesn't matter. See if you can focus the intention into the front of the hip. See if you can get those hip flexors to start gripping, to start twitching a little bit to help me move the leg. 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Relaxing the hips, releasing the legs. And then I'm going to change the coordination. This time, instead of working same side, I'm going to cross my strings over. So my right hand will be moving with my left leg, my left hand with my right leg. So I'm going to start raising the right arm up, picking up the left leg, coming back, and then with the left arm, I'm going to lift to the right leg. Down, and then switching again. One combination, it normally feels a little bit easier than the other. Generally is the opposite, because we are, as we walk, as we move, it's normally opposite sides. Then that's normally tends to be the easiest one. So see if I can again focus the tension, the intention into the front of the hip. 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Relaxing the hips, releasing the legs. So it's a little bit more connection. I still want to work on combination, leg, but this time changing the direction of the movement. I'm going to keep the feet just about hips width apart, and then go back to the string, same side. So right arm, right leg, left arm, left leg. I'm going to start opening the right arm out to the right, and then with the leg, I'm going to follow that opening. So with the right arm, I'm going to open the door, and with the right leg, I'm going to try and follow. Then I'm going to close the door and then switch side. With the left arm, I'm going to open the door. With the left leg, I follow. And then with the left arm, I'm going to close the door, and then with the leg, I'll follow. So I'm going to open the right and close back, open the left, and then close back. Generally, the lateral movement, it's easier than the lift, but it doesn't matter if it's only small, just to see if I can try and work it in sync. So the arm and the leg going together, and then coming back together. If you're on your back, remember with the lateral movement, make sure that the hips are keeping still. So it's the arm and the leg open to the side. I don't want my hips to be pulled in that direction. So I don't want to twist in that direction. So I'm going to stabilize the hips and then just open right, close, open left, close. Making sure that the back feels nice and loose. I'm not gripping through the back. I'm not stiffening the back or the neck as the arm and the leg are going. Last one. And release. Relaxing the arms, releasing the hips. And then again, I'm going to change the coordination. This time I want the arm and the leg, opposite sides, to move away from each other. So I'm going to reach the arms, hold the legs. I want my right arm and my left leg to move away from the center and then come back to the center. Then left arm, right leg, move away from the center and then come back to the center and then switching again. So stabilizing the hips as well. If I'm seated, exactly the same. See if I can try and coordinate right, left, and back, and then left, right, and then back. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and release. Relaxing through the shoulders, releasing through the hips. It's a little bit more coordination. It's a little bit more connection, upper and lower body. I want to focus a little bit more on 3 directions. I'm going to start with flexion. If you're seated, you can still use the ball, the cushion if you want to, but because of the angle at the hip, which is almost like an angle, 90-degree angle, it's easier to get with your hands directly down onto the leg. If you're laying down, the angle at the hip is a little bit bigger, so it's bigger than 90 degrees. So the leg is further. If I put my hands on the leg, I tend to kind of like strain the shoulders, strain the upper body. So if I'm lying down, I want to put something between my hands and the leg. So I can put the ball or the towel, the cushion, just to create a little bit of a thickness so that my shoulders don't need to overreach, my arms don't need to stretch out too far. And then I'm going to keep a pressure with the hands. I'm trying to push away into the leg. I'm pushing down into the leg. With the leg, I'm going to try and lift into the hands. So I'm going to hold with the hands and then try to pull up with the leg. Then ease the pressure, hold with the hands, and then pull up with the leg. And then ease the pressure. It doesn't matter if the foot actually lifts or not. It shouldn't be lifting too much. If it lifts too much and my hands are not pushing hard enough, what I want to focus on is the hip flexor. So as the hands resist that way and the legs try to come up this way, I really should be able to feel that hip flexors kind of like biting, gripping, tightening to get the leg to move. So see if I can focus on that right hip and then really get that hip flexor actively going. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Relaxing into the leg, relaxing into the hip. Now I want the reverse. So I don't need my hands. I've got the floor underneath, whether I'm seated or lying down. What I want is to try and push that right leg as hard as I can into the floor. So I'm going to push down into that right leg and then release the pressure. Push down into that right leg and then release the pressure. I should be able to feel what I want to feel. This time is the hamstrings, it's the back of the leg. As I push down, I can feel the hamstring gripping to allow me that pressure. And if I'm pushing hard enough, I even should be able to feel a little bit of tension into the bum, into the glutes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Relaxing that leg. I'm going to try the same thing with the left side. So pushing down with that left foot and then relax. Press and ease. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and relax. Relaxing into the leg, and then this time placing the ball or the cushion between the knees. I'm going to walk the feet a little bit closer together, and then I'm going to start pressing into the ball. This time, both legs together. I'm going to squeeze the ball between the knees, and then I'm going to ease the pressure. Whether you're seated or lying down, but especially if you're lying down, feel the lower back and the glutes. As I push into the ball, my glutes are relaxed, my back is relaxed. I don't want the bum to suddenly start clenching and the back suddenly started tilting, or the pelvis are tilting. So I want to keep my neutral, keep the hips relaxed, just the inner thighs. It's a little squeeze, and then I'm going to ease that tension. Little squeeze, and then ease the tension. If I'm seated, I can clearly see the legs that are there in front of me, so I can see them clearly. Check that the two sides are working the same, so it doesn't look as if one side is pressing while the other side is not. If I feel that I need a little guidance, I'm just going to use my hands to guide. So see if I can find a nice symmetric movement, a nice even squeeze at both right and left side. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Easing the pressure of the ball, relaxing the legs. And then last time I'm going to switch the effort, this time for the outside of the leg. So I'm just going to grab hold of the band. I'm going to bring the legs nice and close together. And then I'm going to tie the band around the knees. If it's not an elastic band, remember, keep it slightly loose so that I've got a little space inside the loop to actually be able to move the legs to push out. So I don't want it too tight. If it's elastic, I'm going to keep it fairly tight as it stretches. And then I'm going to walk the feet just a little bit further out. Think of the feet back to hips width apart. or maybe just a little bit wider than hips width apart. And then from there, what I want is to bring the knees over the feet. So I'm going to push out with the knees. I'm trying to line them up above the feet. So I want my shin bone to be vertical again. And then I'm just going to control the release. I'm going to squeeze it out. And then easing back. Same as before. I feel this leg works. This one is struggling a bit. I'm just going to help it. And then coming back. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. And releasing down. Relaxing through the hips and releasing into the legs. I'm going to undo the band, push the band to one side, giving the legs a little shake, relaxing into the legs, relaxing into the hips. Then when you're ready, if you're lying down, rolling over onto your side and then slowly pushing yourself up into sitting. Finding your comfortable seated position, making sure that I'm able to sit reasonably upright. If I need a little support, I'm going to lean against the wall or chair, sofa, something that is not going to slide off. Finding the C-bones, see if I can lift myself right up onto the very tip of the C-bone, straightening myself out. And then I want to open up that front line first. I'm going to push the chest forward. I'm going to draw the shoulders back. I'm going to drop them down. Then I'm going to start lifting the chin up. I'm going to look up, look back as far as I can. And then I'm going to release. I'm going to ease my way forward, letting the chin drop down to the chest, so the shoulders come forward, rolling my way down towards the ground, towards the legs, and then uncurling my way back again. Pushing forward through the chest, the back of the shoulders down. I'm going to look forward, look up, look back. And then I'm just going to release my way to the front again. Opening up the back of the shoulders, rounding the back of the rib cage, taking a little stretch down into the lower back if possible. Last time. Uncurling all the way back up. Squeezing the shoulders back, chest is forward. Drop the shoulders down, looking forward, looking up, looking back. And then releasing your way back to the front. One hand to the belly, one hand to the back. Take your bow. Give yourself